Hi there, Christoph here. Here's an update on the Unilateral Exit AK force move in Arke. As of the latest version, version 18, that is live on test flight as of today, a whole bunch of changes happened in this one, which makes the flow more robust. So Arke is based on Bark by Second, which is an Ark implementation. And if you're familiar with Ark, there's like a server that facilitates payments for a whole bunch of people at the same time. Compared to Lightning, we have these one-off channels between individuals. And if the other person goes away, there's like a set of transactions that I can use to get my money back, even if the other person doesn't collaborate. And the same thing is kind of true with Ark. So generally, there are a bunch of different scenarios to kind of think through with this. So it's all great if the server is collaborating, right? Everyone's happy. The server could just disappear from one day to the next. You're stuck by yourself, and you want to make sure you have everything that you need to get your money out, which is the case with Bark and Arke. The other scenario is where the server is unreliable, so maybe it's a little bit spotty, some of your payments don't work or so. Then you kind of need to decide, do you want to be out, do you want to wait it out, contact the server, admins, whatever. Or the server is malicious, you're suspecting something, community is suspecting something, you want to get out before maybe they find some sneaky way to get your funds. Either way, let's talk through a simple scenario and the user experience as of right now. So here is a very basic wallet. You haven't done really much. You deposited 100,000 in your savings balance. So you have two balances. The savings balance is on-chain, fully controlled by you. Then you have the payments balance. That is the one that the Ark server facilitates, and you put 10,000 in there, and then the app notifies you here in the corner that the server is not available. So you can tap this in the app and to get more detail. But let's say here we decide, we want out. So we go to the settings. There's a force move option all the way further down, kind of the more serious section of the settings. When you go there and you see this gentleman here explaining to you how the feature basically works. The videos have gotten really good reception in Arke, and someone suggested also using it for feature explainers, and I think here it is very fitting. You could show a lot of text instead, but I do think the video makes it easier to absorb the information. Then we show you the amount that you're going to exit, estimated fees. These are just random numbers here, and the number of transactions that need to be done, which could probably be removed. Then a few checkboxes, you need to check all of them, press start, and then you're good to go. Now, because this is should not happen accidentally, we also have a few things that may pop up here. So if the server is still available, we tell you, like, you don't need to use this feature. There's a better way. Collaborate with the server to get your funds out. Do that first. And then if you have a pending refresh that may interfere with this forced move, we also kind of give you a heads up. And then if you don't have enough money in your savings account to cover the fees, we also tell you that. So we just really want to make sure that people use this really only when it's needed, because it is an emergency thing. But let's say you started it, you clicked all the checkboxes, press start, you get to this screen where it tells you, okay, cool, we're starting now, check back in about an hour. If you don't have notifications on, we ask you, or we suggest that you enable them, because the app schedules local notifications, which exist only on device, and they just remind you. They make it super easy. You just tap it, it goes in, the app starts, and then it just kind of sees where the force move is and starts the next steps as needed. All right, back your activity screen now shows you that you're force mirroring these 10K, and that's kind of it. On your lock screen, you'll see a live activity popped up that keeps you in the loop on this. It's there at all times until the force move is complete or failed, which hopefully doesn't happen. So let's say sometime later you get the first notification or the second notification, you tap it, progress is already on step 3 here, all looks good. In the app, you see that the force move now, fees have started to accumulate because there are individual transactions that need to happen, and each one has its own fee. So you'll see fees pop in. You can always tap on the balance screen to see the full breakdown here. So, the 10K from the payments balance that are being exited, they're pending now, and then some of the fees are being deducted. And if you tap, any of these rows, you can always tap to get details. If you tap the force move, then you see this one here. Shows you basic information at the top, and then the progress bar that you're already familiar with from your lock screen. And that's kind of it. You don't really have to go deeper. But if you want to, you can press this info icon and this sheet slides up, and that's where you see a little bit more under the hood. For people who want to, you can see which steps have completed, which steps happening right now, which ones are coming up, and if you want to expand those, you can get more detail if you want to, but you don't have to. Cool. So once the exit is complete, our force move is complete. We ended up paying 7,000. Made up numbers again for in this example. All the steps are complete. And we are completely out of the payments balance. Everything is now in savings. And as a user, you can decide what you want to do. Do you want to just use this as an on-chain wallet now? Do you want to get your money out completely? Or in the future, once there are more Ark servers available, then there could be an option here to switch to a different server then and continue using the app to its full extent. There's a lot more complexity, actually. This was the happy path. If, let's say, you have multiple VTXOs, those are exited on their own. So each VTXO gets its own force move entry and kind of happens on its own. But there's also sometimes a situation where a single on-chain transaction, might be part of the progress of 2 or more of those force moves. So the fees are kind of split up, and it should handle all of that stuff for you under the hood. You just might see multiple of these happening, and then you still get a single progress bar, but you'll just see more steps because it just kind of adds up all of the steps from the individual force moves. And then unfortunately, it may get canceled. This is kind of what I mentioned earlier. So a delegated refresh means that one of your deposits, your VTXOs, may expire soon. You tell the server, hey, refresh this one at the next opportunity. And then you start a force move for whatever reason. And then the force move starts, but then the refresh happens and the VTXO gets refreshed. And then it cannot be exited anymore because it's not a valid VTXO anymore. Whatever. It got canceled automatically. The app now shows you this. Hopefully you haven't paid any fees. There's kind of a good chance that you didn't pay any fees for it because the force move is such a slower action than a refresh, but you may. And then you can dig in and it just kind of tells you that this force move was canceled. So this is more of a scenario. So if the server is completely gone, you're not going to run into this. If the server is spotty or malicious, you potentially may run into this situation. In particular, in a malicious scenario, I think there's some stuff here that may need to be iterated on in the future, where no more refreshes are started. Force moves are happening. If the users decided they want out, they should get out. But it's kind of tricky if the server already has the information for this delegated refresh, right? Anyways, so it gets very tricky if you get into this kind of malicious server scenario. But this is currently where it's at. Thoroughly tested it on Signet. If you test, please also test on Signet so you don't waste any money. It can kind of get expensive. If you have kind of a rich VTXO set. And otherwise, I would love to hear more feedback on this, any thoughts, concerns, ideas on how to make this better. Ideally, no one user will ever need to use this feature at all because all servers are collaborative and everyone's happy. But as we know, things do happen. And in that case, I think people will be very happy if this is a good user experience. So I want to make sure this is right. So let me know what you think. Thanks.